TIFU by adding "the Celery Man" to the name of my friend on his resume, which he did not notice. My friend has a bad habit of not double-checking or revising his work. Earlier in 2022, he asked me to look at his resume as he was looking to apply for new jobs. I said sure. Let's say his name was Tom Henderson. I edited the name to be Tom, the Celery Man, Henderson. I also added a bullet point to each of his positions in job experience that said, crunching and munching that celery. Why did I do this? I did this as a joke, assuming he'd see it and remove the silly edits. When I gave him feedback on the resume, I asked him if he would be sure to make some revisions before sending it out. He said sure. Well, he didn't. Not only that, but he never noticed the edits. It turns out since April 2022 he has been sending out resumes with "the Celery Man" on the resume. He has good experience and has been frustrated all year how he got no interviews. He actually had one initial call with a recruiter and was perplexed when the recruiter guy called him Celery Man. He had no idea what it meant but just went along with it. Never got a second interview. Finally, before New Year's, he had a legit interview. They also made a "Celery Man" joke, which astounded him, and he asked why they made this reference. They told him it was all over his resume. He was mortified. He even told them he had no idea this was on there. But in doing so, it basically came out that he had never looked at his resume. He thinks this is the reason he didn't get the job. In any case, I had to confess to him I was the one who did this. But it had never been my intention that he would actually send it to jobs. I thought he'd have noticed it right away. Well, he is quite mad at me. He said I've made him the jackass to all of the NYC tech scene, and that I went beyond all acceptable lines of pranking. I think he is overreacting a bit. I mean, it is just a silly prank really, and how in the world does somebody not notice this for almost an entire year on their own resume? I am worried it might cost me this friendship though, so I am hoping to find a way to make it up to him. TL. Dear, I edited the resume of my friend to name him "the Celery Man" as a bizarre moniker. But he never noticed and sent it out to employers, making him seem weird. Computer, load up Celery Man please. My friend has a bad habit of not double-checking or revising his work. I did this as a joke, assuming he'd see it and remove the silly edits. That's both hilarious, and you should have brought it up to him maybe a week or two later to make sure he was aware of it. Tops. Never following up with the aftermath, especially if you fail to notice him ever mentioning it to you, is not good. A week or two, maybe sent out to a couple companies, would have been funny. A year almost of it's gone past the pale. I've edited my resume 6 times since I started looking for jobs 3 months ago. WTF has your friend been doing with his resume? Just sending it off unread? No changes. Ever? In doing so, it basically came out that he had never looked at his resume. He's right, that's why he didn't get the job. I mean, it's kind of his fault, but I also can understand that he's mad cause he lost good opportunities. On the other side, if you don't get interviews for a whole year, why don't you look at your resume for once to see if something is wrong? I don't get it. LPT. Always work on collaborative documents with track changes on. Then it will be harder to miss changes other people make. But did he kick up the 4D3D3D3? Well, you both messed up here. You intended on pranking your friend and having a good laugh about it with him. But instead it did cost him opportunities in which he could have gotten a good job. I think he is overreacting a bit. I mean, it is just a silly prank. To you, it's a silly prank. To him, It's a whole year wasted of trying to earn a living. But was he a complete victim here? Absolutely not. How does one not look at their resume the whole year? I honestly feel a bit worried if he were to do this at work, then messing up big time. 'Cause not double-checking important things at all could cost him a job. It's a bad habit he needs to change, since he would have noticed the edits and changed them if he did. Double-check. When you're performing a prank, you have to consider what happens if the prank goes wrong. This was a pretty obvious scenario that could have happened, and is clearly over the line. So you shouldn't have done it. Edit. The frankly absurd negligence and lack of responsibility of the friend is a big problem. But it doesn't negate the harm inflicted. Nor vice versa. Even a second grader knows that two wrongs don't make a right. WTFsa for a whole ass year when he told you this you never told him? Your friend is in tech and didn't even bother to review edits made to his own resume? Even after you specifically told him to look over it? Yikes. You're an asshole for not fessing up sooner. He has a skills issue that reads as ineptitude. This needed a time frame. If he was having no luck, how did you not suspect this when you know he doesn't check things? You have potentially damaged your friend's career. Yes, he should have checked, but he trusted you. I act in community theater, comedy, storytelling, etc. So I have my own resume for all my credits. I also have my work resume because I'm not at the point where the money make from entertainment is enough to quit yet. Hopefully soon. But I was applying to office jobs with my actor resume for like 3 months because somehow I switched the names of the files. Eventually one company replied and was like, "Very cool. But I think you sent us the wrong thing." I was mortified. She understood and I sent to correct one and fixed the file names. I got that job. You should point out that, with his poor attention to detail, maybe tech isn't the sector for him. I just read this to my wife who was laughing so hard. She started crying and saying stop. I carried on reading until it turned out she had pulled a muscle in her spine from laughing too hard. Sounds like your friend never even opened the resume back up to check it, add to it. You aren't a good friend. But you probably saved teams all over the NYC tech scene the headache of having to work with someone so lazy. As a systems person that has helped numerous friends write their resumes over the years, I can see both sides of this. But you're still the bigger ass here. Normally, if you do this, it would be common practice to review the resume together and make any edits and changes needed. You both effed up. But you betrayed your friend's trust. The problem he faces is that he has shown numerous potential employers that he isn't paying attention to details. That's a red flag all on its own. Especially in the tech industry. Sounds like someone's celery levels are low. While I'm laughing out loud, I also have to admit he has every right to be mad. He obviously trusted you, and now he knows he shouldn't have.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.